Hello, welcome to the Data Channel. So, in the world of AI, we are hearing a lot of terminologies, and most heard AI terminologies would be like LLM, large language models, RAG, AI agents, and MCP. And most of the time, people might often think so these are like contradictory technologies or competitor technologies. So, what exactly these and how these kind of relate or how these go hand in hand when we talk about the end-to-end AI framework, right? So that we will discuss, right, in this video in detail. So before proceeding, if you're new to this channel, we would recommend you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notifications. So let's get started. So let's imagine you are in 2023. You walk into a room and meet a genius, and this genius can answer questions for you, write an essay, create code, right? Tell story and even explain, say, like complex quantum physics for you, right? You can ask who won the cricket last month. So the genius pauses and it gets wrong. Not because he's not smart, because he's trapped in the past. So he only knows what he learned before entering the room. So that genius is LLM. So large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and others are the brain behind modern AI. So they understand language, they reason, they generate response, but they can only work with what they have learned during the training. So and that's where the first evolution begins. So these are like basically what we call it as a LLM. So even the LLMs, whatever the models that we have seen that were doing the jobs 2023, 2024, but they need to be trained. There's no live data that is getting connected. So they are working in silos, or that they are working in they are stuck in the time where the data is given for them for the particular time period, right? So that's the LLM part of it. So next, imagine giving the giving this genius access to the world's largest library. Suddenly, whenever you ask a question, he can walk into the shelves, pull out the latest book for you, reports, articles, documents, then answer you using the fresh information, the live information. So now he's not having a limited old knowledge, right? He's not having the knowledge is not limited to the knowledge when it was trained. So it is having the access to the live information that is in the world. So that means he's connected to the reality. So that's where the RAG comes into picture, right? So that's called a retrieval augmented generation. So RAG allows AI to search for relevant information before generating the answer. So instead of guessing, it actually retrieves the data. Instead of relying solely on memory, it consults the knowledge. So the brain now has access to the library, and the AI becomes um, kind of a dramatically more useful, right? So, but there's a problem. So our genius can read, he can think, now he can answer, yet he can't actually do anything. Means like he can't send an email, for example, right? So he cannot. So if I say book me the flight tickets or book me the bus tickets, he cannot do that, or he cannot update the spreadsheet. He cannot interact with the software tools, right? Or the Gmails that we have. So it's having the smartest person in the world trapped inside a glass box. It's just like that, right? It is now having, because of LLM and RAG, it is having all the information, live information. It is the smartest thing in the world, but it doesn't have the hands, right? So we give him the hands, and that's where the AI agents enter the story, right? So now that's story of AI agents. So an AI agent is more than a chatbot. So don't get confused with a AI agent is a chatbot. People often think AI agent means it's equivalent to chatbot. It's just a small part of it. But AI agent is much more than that. So it doesn't just answer the questions. It takes actions. For example, ask it to research competitors, create a report, and even schedule a meeting and send an email response. Instead of simply telling you what to do, it actually does that in the action. It actually doing the task for you in reality. That means instead of simply telling you what to do, how to do, it is actually doing the task for you. So the AI can now plan, reason through multiple steps, use tools, make decisions, and complete the task. That means it has started doing the work. That means it got the hand part of it, right? Previously, it was just having the brain part of it and with the connected with the knowledge using RAG. But now with the AI agent, so it has started getting the hands part of it. That means it is taking the actions. The brain now has hands. That's what we can say, right? And for the first time, AI started behaving less like a search engine and more like a digital employee. So we can say it is working like a software engineer, it is working like a data engineer, or it is working like a software tester, right? So it can work like any digital employee. So it can work like a manager, right? A program manager, product manager. So, but then another challenge appears. So imagine your AI agent wants to use dozens of different tools, okay? Because it is not like when you want to behave like a person or behave like an employee or or an individual. So he doesn't just do the actions, right? He also has access to the different tools and technologies and the different website, right? So that's where like we need access to the different tools, like, right? So for example, it might need access to the Google Drive, data lake, GitHub, right? And Salesforce databases, and the local files and internal company systems. So every connection requires a different language, right? Because when you create a connections like to a different systems, for example, the way how you connect to the database is different, the way how you connect to the website is different, and the way how you connect to the Gmail and the network devices is different, right? Because it might use different technologies, like REST API, NFS, and the different uh, connecting terminologies that might come into picture, right? So it involves a lot of different languages, programming languages, networking, and all those things will come into picture. A different interface, a different integration pattern. So that's a lot of chaos, right? So the industry then created something new. So a universal translator. For example, it's like a universal connector, and that's where it's called as a MCP. That's what is called as a MCP. That is Model Context Protocol. So a simple analogy is think of MCP as like a USB port C of an AI, right? Before USB-C port, right? Every device needs a different cable. So today one connector works almost everywhere. So it's like a universal cable, right? So similarly, MCP does the same thing for an AI. Instead of building custom integration for every tool, developers can use a say common protocol. So the AI can securely communicate with applications, databases, documents, APIs, different enterprise systems through a standardized connection. So suddenly, now think what has happened, right? Suddenly the ecosystem become connected. So you have like your entire organization. So the access that AI agent gets now is vast, right? Because he's getting access to the knowledge. It's not just about getting the access to the systems. The systems also have the knowledge, right? The brain can now think, the library provides the knowledge, and hands can act, and the connectors lets everything communicate, right? It becomes like a MCP is like a nervous system, right? It is like connecting each and every systems now, right? So then that's unlocks the true potential, because it's not just about the getting the access to the systems, but also it is getting connections and deriving the knowledge out of the different systems, and also connecting the dots between the systems. So this is where many people get confused, right? So they ask which is better. So LLM, RAG, AI, agent, or MCP. So now you know who is better, right? It is none. So it's not about comparing these tools and technologies. That's like asking which is better, the engine is better or the steering is better, right, in a car, or the GPS is better, or finally the road is better, right? So that question doesn't matter, doesn't make any sense. They are not the competitors here ultimately. So these are the different layers, right? So each one built on top of the another or complements each other, right? And LLMs gives the intelligence, RAG gives the knowledge, right? Agent gives the agent gives the action taking capabilities, and finally MCP gives the connectivity part of it, right? And so finally, if we take together, they create a complete AI system, right? So that's why the future of AI isn't just about building a smarter models. It's about building smarter systems, right? And this whole analogy, you can consider it as like a LLM is a kind of a brain, right? And RAG is a brain given access to a memory, right? And also the agent like is like a hands, and MCP is like a nervous system, right? It gets connected to the different nervous systems, and so that becomes a whole body or a whole system. So we're talking about, when we talk about LLM, RAG, agents, AI agents, and MCP, so all together are building a whole system, right? So they build a next generation system of AI powered businesses, products, and whatnot, right? You can imagine the limitations or the possibilities that can come across. So because the biggest opportunity is in AI is not it's not knowing one technology, it's understanding the entire stack. If you're talking about organization, if you're talking about any business domain, so you need to understand the entire stack. And we are only getting started. So if you found this explanation useful, please subscribe to the data channel for more such AI breakdowns, emerging technologies, future shaping innovations, because the AI revolution isn't coming, it's already here. Thanks for watching.